friends, this is Trish and welcome to Teacher Therapy. I want to talk about this conversation in light of Kohlberg's theory of moral development. In case you haven't been in Psychology 101 class in a long time, I just want to go over a brief overview of this theory because I totally agree with it and I think it actually holds the secrets for why our modern discipline isn't working. So hopefully by this phase in editing, I will have a lovely graphic here for you to look at, but this will be my adaptation of Kohlberg's theory. So I want you to imagine that each little person has 6 potential phases they can go through to develop. At the very first step, their number one motivation is to avoid getting punished and avoid getting in trouble. This isn't a bad thing, it's quite normal. It's just that at the lower phases of moral development, for whatever reason, due to age or circumstances or any factor, morals have not become internalized yet. So for example, it's kind of like a kid with a cookie jar, right? The mom tells them, little Billy, don't eat the cookies. So while mom is standing there, little Billy is probably not going to go dig into those cookies because he doesn't want to get in trouble with his mom. But if she leaves for any amount of time and little Billy thinks he can get away with eating that cookie, by all means, he's going to. However, if little Billy knows that mom is not going to do absolutely anything if he digs into that cookie, he might go ahead and eat it right in front of her and go, nana, nana, boo, boo. Why? Because he's not afraid of any consequences and he knows nothing's going to happen. So step 1 is all about whether or not there's going to be punishment. Step 2 is a little bit different. In step 2, a person is actually more motivated by rewards. And there's also more of an understanding that if I do the right thing, good will probably come back to me. So in step 2, if little Billy has figured out if he is obedient for the day and does his chores, mom's going to give him the cookies and he won't be in trouble, then he's actually going to be motivated by that reward. So these first 2 steps are called level 1, pre-conventional. Now we're going to move up to level 2, which is conventional. Steps 3 and 4 are kind of like steps 1 and 2, but a little bit more advanced. So in step 3, there's more of an awareness of how a person is seen to other people. So they want to be seen as a good little boy or a good little girl, and they want to do the right thing because they actually don't want to be disliked by other people. Now, it still doesn't mean necessarily that that child will behave the same way in different environments because it's not totally internalized morality. It's very much about what do I look like in the eyes of other people. So if you're a teacher or a parent and you've ever had a situation where what you thought was like the best kid in class acted absolutely crazy with a sub and you're thinking like, how is that even possible? It could be that in that instance, the whole classroom was kind of misbehaving and the kid didn't care at all what the sub thought or said or would do. So in that case, in order to be liked by their peers and to fit in, to go with the flow, it actually required more misbehavior than usual. So with this phase, it's going to very much depend upon what the surroundings are like, what are the norms that are set, what is the community like, and what's considered in that setting to be good. Now let's move to step 4. This one has more to do with how that person perceives their authority figure. Sometimes a kid that's at step 4 might be seen as a teacher's pet because they really want to be in good with whoever the authority figure is. And they're still motivated by some of the other steps, so they still don't want to get in trouble. They still want to be seen as a good boy or girl. They still want rewards, but what the authority thinks of them really matters, and it would actually be sad for them to have an authority figure be upset with them because for whatever reason, they actually value the authority in this situation. I think probably all teachers would be happy if all their kids were at level or step 4 because, a lot of us have kind of talked about how today a lot of young people don't really have any value of authority whatsoever. In fact, it seems like they kind of automatically hate whoever the authority is automatically. It's kind of the opposite of step 4. But again, these last 2 go in level 2, which is the conventional level. Now we're ascending to the top with step 5 and 6, and this is post-conventional. Now to me, these last 2 are a little trickier to explain, but I'll do my best. Once you're getting to step 5, people have truly internalized morals and values, and they are truly thinking about the good of other people. It's not all about what benefits them, what feels good to them, how other people think about them. They are truly inside of their heart thinking about what is best not only for me, but also for the community, for society, for the world. They are truly wanting to make the world a better place in these last 2 phases. Step 5 and 6 are also a teacher's dream. And funny enough, I'll get into this later in the video, but I think this is where a lot of our modern discipline systems actually assume students are coming in at. They assume that if we just talk to the kids about the impact their actions are having on the community, then suddenly they're gonna do the right thing. But if they're not at least at step 5, that is not likely to be very motivating for them at all. But to summarize step 5, they are truly wanting to do the right thing for the good of everybody around them and society at whole. And they might be more likely to have the thought, if I did this thing and then everybody else did this thing, what would the world look like? So if you've ever had to have a conversation with a kid, like if everybody was smacking gum and blowing bubbles and sticking their gum under the desk, what would the classroom environment be like? You're kind of trying to appeal to step 5 with them, and it may or may not work. All right, step 6. At this point, they have advanced through all of the previous 5 steps, and they have pretty much come up with their own individualized code of ethics that takes all of the other things into consideration, and that again, not only benefits themselves, but benefits everyone. At step 6, a person is going to truly do the right thing because it's the right thing, regardless of what other people think, regardless if they're punished or rewarded, regardless of whether or not other people think that they are right or wrong. And to me, these are the kind of people that are typically, they go down in history books as people that really stood to fight injustice, even though actually everything was against them, because they had a greater vision of what the world could be. So those are the 6 steps in Kohlberg's theory of moral development. So what does all this have to do with why current schools are a complete disaster right now? I'm going to argue that they've actually mostly skipped the pre-conventional level and they're trying to dive in at step 3 and 4. But even if they start at step 2 with some kind of reward system, there's oftentimes no step 1. There's not negative consequences or goodness forbid punishments or discipline. And so the very thing that would actually stop and deter a lot of kids from misbehaving, there's nothing there. And students figure this out really quick and they absolutely take advantage of the system. If you happen to be lucky enough to have kids that are at higher stages of moral development, maybe they can still succeed and even thrive in some kind of system that has no punishment or negative consequences. But I think that we can all agree that the quality of parenting has changed. Therefore, I hate to say the quality of kids, but the moral development of kids that are coming into our classrooms are at a totally different place. Let me know if you have any other video topics you'd like for me to cover, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!